switch me on.
Hey everybody, welcome back to The Proton Pack is Not a Toy. My name is Matt. You can see the AMC behind me over here. I just saw Ghostbusters Afterlife for the second time, and I know I did the video yesterday, but this is going to be my detailed review, and there will be spoilers, so if you haven't seen this video yet, then please wait. Come back and watch this video if you would. But wait until after you've seen it, because I'm going to go into some details on the plot and just the movie overall. So, second viewing, I had to come back, get my Ecto-1 popcorn holder from AMC. I went to a different theater chain yesterday. So, again, sorry for the kind of crudeness of this video here in the car, but I wanted to do it while it was fresh on my mind today. Yesterday, I had a little bit, I wouldn't call it disappointment, but I think having such a long time for us to have to wait for this movie to come out, not just the 32 years, but the movie itself, the one that we knew was coming, and seeing so many previews and commercials, trying to avoid a lot of them as I was. A lot of the surprise of it was taken away by those type things. I followed the spoiler thread for a long time on GB Fans before the trailers really started to come out, and I knew a lot of the details going into it. So what kind of tends to happen is, or at least for me, my mind began to race on what are the possibilities of what we might see that we don't already know about. It turned out we already knew a whole lot that what was going to happen in the movie. We had the feeling that Gozer would be back, that was kind of an assumption that J.K. Simmons would be Ivo Shandor. It seemed to make sense that Mr. Gruberson and Callie would be the Keymaster and the Gatekeeper, and that turned out to be the case. We figured that we might not see much of the Ghostbusters until the third act, and they would probably come in and help save the day at the very end, wielding their packs one more time, which turned out to be the case. I wanted to have more of the original Ghostbusters, and from my video that I shared last night, my spoiler-free review, I was a little disappointed that we didn't get a little bit more of them. But in reality, this is the best case scenario that we were going to end up with. And while it might be a little disappointing that we didn't get another scene or two of each of the Ghostbusters, it would have been cool to see Peter as a professor, or to have a little bit more detail of Winston as a businessman and really know what he was involved with and more of that story. Be sure you check those in-credit scenes to know more about that, or at least as much as they gave us about that. But we got what we got. You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit, right? So, having seen it a second time, I enjoyed it more the second time. I think I was a little bit stressed out by the first viewing. I was doing a private screening and had friends and family there, and I just kind of on a whim today decided to go see it just in the afternoon before, dinner time. And I was by myself, and so it was a little less stress and pressure. I knew what was going to happen. It was just a matter of going and seeing it and enjoying it, and looking for those finer details that I might have glazed over watching it the first time. So noticing more of the tornado around the house that I really didn't pay attention to in the first viewing. I did have some kind of nitpicks about the Ghostbusters showing up out of nowhere at the very end, just in uniform with packs on. Is like, how did they get there? What in the world? And they probably could have done a few different things with that, but that's the way they decided to go with it, and it's nothing wrong with it. Yesterday I was kind of thinking that they were a little too flippant with the original Ghostbusters and their lines there in the final battle. Um, but thinking back to the first movie, there was a lot of that, and I've gotten used to seeing like Marvel movies where they'll have like the funny parts in it, but when it's serious, it's serious. Um, Ghostbusters is more about having the serious, but then breaking it up with the sarcastic humor and the funniness, and keeping that in mind, that helps with that perspective. Um, a lot of people are saying it's the perfect movie, beginning to end. There are things I would have changed here or there. I didn't really see the point of having Shandor there to just rip him in half as soon as he gets out of his coffin or whatever was going on there. I still have questions about that. I would have liked to know more about Egon's relationship with Callie's mom, whoever that might have been. Obviously, it wasn't Janine, but I would have liked to know where in the time frame of the first two movies that fits in, that relationship. And if there was a book or a backstory or something that would be able to show those type things, that would be cool. And I was kind of disappointed we didn't see more of the Sentinel Terror Dog that we got an action figure for from the Plasma series, Ghostbusters figures from Hasbro. And we kind of see it come out of the trap and then fly into the mountain. And then after that, nothing else comes of it. And I thought it would play a bigger role in the movie. So I wonder how much of this ended up on the cutting room floor. I noticed a lot of the things that we did see in the trailers didn't show up in the movie. Some of the funny lines, I like the line in the trailer where Phoebe refers to Ecto-1 as a station wagon. I thought that was funny. That didn't show up in the movie. They didn't shoot the Doritos at her at the school that she was going to, like in the first trailer. The "Who are you" line that Mr. Gruberson says to her, I don't think that ever showed up. So there was a lot of stuff that they threw at us in the trailers that we didn't get in the final cut of the movie, which is interesting. So I wonder how much of that changed over the pandemic from the time the first trailer released until what we ended up with here. But it's a good movie. You know what? I think the part where it really bogged down just a little bit for me was when it did bring in the original Ghostbusters, and I wouldn't have had it without them. I'm glad they were in it, but it was humming along on its own with the people that were carrying the movie. The younger actors and actresses, they did great. Paul Rudd was Paul Rudd. I didn't have any experience watching anything with Carrie Coon in it, other than I know that she was one of the evil things in Infinity War, but she was covered in so much makeup you didn't know it was her. So she did a great job. I enjoyed seeing how much of the humor was involved with her, and then the kind of the feels too at the end. The first time going around, I didn't really choke up much. Kind of a little bit when Ray was on the phone and he found out that Egon died, and his opinion of Egon did a 180. The second time, again, that part got me, and then the part at the end where you actually did get to see Egon in ghost form, I was paying a little bit more attention to him there, and I did get a little more misty-eyed on that one. So they did an okay job with that. I wasn't expecting to see him the first time around, so it was a surprise. But now that I knew that he was going to be there, I was kind of looking for it and looking for some of the details. And so if you had an opinion where you weren't super excited, or I use the term super excited a lot, don't I? You weren't 100% thrilled with the way it turned out the first time you watched it, do yourself a favor and go see it again. It's the first new adventure with these Ghostbusters people in so long. We've gotten used to just watching the same two over and over and over and over and over again, that we know them by heart. So having something be fresh and new and not familiar, it might take a viewing or two for you really to see some of the charm in it, or to get past some of the things that might have tripped you up the first time through. So I want to be positive about it. Again, I'll say that there are things in it that I would probably nitpick and change a little bit if it was up to me. But it's a good movie, and I'm going to go see it again. I'll go with some friends a few different times. I know my youngest wants to see it again in the theater soon, and I'll be happy to take him. He had a blast. He's 9 years old and loved it. So hope this is helpful for some of you. I hope you know it's okay to not like 100% of it. If you don't, that's okay. And if it turns out you didn't like it at all and it wasn't your cup of tea, that's okay. It doesn't mean you're not a Ghostbusters fan. It doesn't mean your opinion doesn't count. And if you're on the other side where it's 100% exactly what you wanted, great. Congratulations. I'm glad you got the movie you wanted. And for those of us that are a little bit in between, you know what? Jason Reitman did an all right job. And it's a worthy addition to what is now a trilogy. And I'll look forward to seeing it again. I appreciate you guys hanging out and watching this review. And obviously I'll have a lot more coming up here on the channel. We'll kind of go through a lot of those questions that I posited in the Ghostbusters, what did I call it? Let's Talk Ghostbusters Afterlife, or Let's Discuss Ghostbusters Afterlife, whatever it was. That series, you know what I'm talking about. I'll kind of go back through those questions and see kind of where things landed. If we had answers or didn't get answers, that's kind of coming, but it'll be in the next couple of weeks. So I'll kind of space them out a little bit. We've got Thanksgiving coming up, and you know, we're going to be seeing this movie a few more times, most of us. So again, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, if you want more Ghostbusters Afterlife content, because you know what's coming. All right, have a good one.